Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amina and thank you for clicking on today's video. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. That would mean a lot to me, so thank you to everyone that's already subscribed. I would say leave a comment too, but I'm pretty sure that's something you're supposed to do at the end of the video after having watched it. I don't know, I don't make the rules. So today's video, as the title says, is about 20 lessons that I've learned in 2020. 2021 is literally like 2 days away and my mind is honestly blown at how quickly this year has gone by. 2020 has managed to be one of the worst years of my entire existing life on God's green planet. I really don't know what it is, but this has been a really bad year for a lot of people. Not everyone at all. Some people have gone through 2020 not having any major problems or disappointments or anything really. It's been a pretty normal year for some people as well. The way my 2020 started off is so different from where I am right now. Like, I never could have predicted the series of events that would take place this year. It's been truly traumatizing. My year started off with a really messy, terrible train wreck of a breakup, and once that was over I thought it was just over, but then there was all this collateral damage afterwards, and then the psychological implications of the mental, emotional, and physical even abuse that I've endured in that relationship really hit me, and I spiraled into one of the worst depressions of my entire life. It was the lowest low that I have ever hit, and I've hit lows before. So for most of 2020, I feel like I was just in like this weird numb state of just trying to do everyday things and not be stuck in my depression. It was one of those like fully consuming depressive episodes where I had zero motivation to do anything. I didn't want to talk to people, I didn't want to hang out with anyone, I didn't want to do anything except for literally be in bed and be sad. I just felt sadness. I felt this heaviness in me for so long that I thought it was just a part of me. Like, I would never lose that feeling. I lost so many people through that breakup. I lost money. I lost things that I owned that never got returned to me. It was just a really intense life shift. I felt like I saw a version of humans that I didn't know existed before. I didn't know what like a damaged man was before then. I didn't know what a narcissist was. I didn't know what like psychological abuse really looked like. So I was learning all these things at once. It was hard. It was just really hard. It was the kind of hard where you think you're okay one week and then the next week you're back in bed crying over the same shit that you thought you were over. It really wasn't even up until like a month ago, November, literally a month ago, that I realized that that situation happened for the best. You know, we all go through bad phases in our lives and we kind of get into like, why is this happening? Why am I being tested? And it isn't until we come out of them that we realize like, okay, everything really did happen for a reason. No matter how painful it was, no matter how awful it was, it all happened for a reason. Don't get me wrong, a breakup was not the only bad thing that happened to me this year. I also got COVID. For those of you who don't know, I did have COVID. I made a whole video about it. Go watch that. Another bad thing was 2 months into this past semester, I dropped all my classes in school and I wasn't in school anymore. I was so depressed. I was losing so much weight. I had no motivation. I just was not okay. I could not even sit there and focus on one Zoom class and do the work for that. And I was supposed to graduate that semester. So I really felt down about myself when that happened. And then not too long after that, a close friend of mine passed away tragically. And just the combination of things happening back to back, I couldn't. I feel like I spend most of my year just traumatized and grieving. And I do want to add, I'm still so blessed to even have my family, to have a roof over my head, to have my health. I know a lot of people had way worse situations this year and my heart goes out to them. This is just my personal experience with the year. These are just my stories. Just wanted to mention that because I don't want anything I say to be taken the wrong way. And now here we are, just a few days away from a new year, and I can honestly look back and say that December has been the best month of the whole year for me. Who would have thought that Miss 2020 had potential? I don't want to just give you guys the negative stuff. There are a few positive things that have happened this year that have been great for me. I mean, this is the year that I started my YouTube channel. Hello! Another great thing that happened to me this year was As I mentioned before, I dropped my semester, and at the time I thought it was like terrible and I felt like I was disappointing everyone around me, but looking back on it, I really could not have made a better decision for myself, for my mental health, for my overall health. I mean, hands down, I would not be at the place that I am right now, health-wise, if I didn't make that decision all those months ago. Having time to just focus on myself and get my health back on track and give myself room to breathe and heal on my own time has been so spectacular. So all in all, everything did work out for the best. We all have ups and downs. That's just the way life goes. So throughout this very insane year, I have learned so many things. So many things. And I have narrowed it down to a list of 20. I really sat down and asked myself what were some of the biggest lessons that were either reinforced for me this year or that I learned this year. And I came up with 20 things. I have the whole list on my phone. I'm just gonna go through and list them out to you guys and talk about them a little bit. Hopefully I don't talk too much because I know I like to talk and my videos end up being 30 minutes long. And when I'm exporting them off of Final Cut, my computer starts breathing heavy. Tip number 1 is choose to be alone rather than be around people who make you feel alone. So this particular lesson that I learned this year isn't something that just happened in 2020. I feel like it's been over the years that I've been meaning to get to a point where I just know this as a fact. It's just not worth it to be around people and around spaces and be at events and parties if you're not being fulfilled in some kind of way. If I'm not developing any cool relationships or getting any kind of nice insight from events, like, why am I here? Like, I gotta start asking myself, why am I here? There's been way too many times where I've gone places and done things and just allowed myself in spaces and around people who make me feel alone, who don't make me feel listened to, heard, important. It really does nothing for me. And that's definitely one of the things that has been solidified for me, is to stop allowing myself to be in useless environments and to always prefer my solitude over these things. Tip number 2, the only person you really have is you. Take care of yourself. At the end of the day, the only person you really have is yourself. I mean, that sounds sad, but that's reality. Our parents will not always be there for us. Our siblings will not always be there for us. Our friends will not always be there for us. You have to be there for yourself. So what that looked like for me this year was to really take control of what I'm eating, when I'm eating, what kind of things I'm putting into my body. Pretty much before now, I never really cared about what was going on with my health. I would go however long without eating. I would binge and just take advantage of my metabolism and just act like I'm gonna have this body forever. And that's just simply not true. I'm going to grow older, I'm going to age, my body will change because of that. I'm a woman, my body will change because of that. If I ever have children, my body will change because of that. There are so many things that can go on with your body in one lifetime, and it's stupid to believe that whatever you've been doing is always gonna work. So I had to take a step back and really take control of how I was treating myself. And although I still feel like a beginner on my health journey, I can confidently say that I do have some really healthy habits that I'm excited to continue to dive into. So that's definitely been one of the biggest lessons I've learned this year. Tip number 3 is demand respect and make your standards clear. So this one I've really implemented in my friendships this year. I've really set the bar high. I've really told my friends what I expect out of them. I've really shown them what I expect out of them. I treat them the way that I'd like to be treated. I feel like what works best for me is to have one consistent standard. And not only has that helped my friendships be stronger, I feel like because I raised my standards, all my friends have leveled up with me a little as far as the kind of conversations we're now having. I don't feel weird or uncomfortable talking about certain things like jobs and careers and our passions and diving into those conversations, as well as some of the challenging conversations about what we might be going through and some tough times that we're having or whatever we're struggling with at the time. I think it just makes room for more open communication when you make it clear that respect is a priority and that you aren't here just for fun and games. These are your friends. I'm willing to put effort into this relationship if you're willing to do the same. And that's kind of the vibe that I'm trying to set with a lot of the relationships in my life, and it's going well for me so far. Number 4 is you cannot teach empathy. This one is such an important one, and I kind of feel like it's a little specific to me and the kind of person that I am. I'm a really giving kind of person. I like to give, I like to make people feel good. I like to just really pour myself into other people. While that's great, that kind of personality type tends to attract takers. People who like to take, people who like to receive all the goodness that you have. While that's not always terrible, most of the time you end up in a manipulative situation, whether it's with a friend or with a family member or with a lover. It doesn't matter who we're talking about here. You can't really teach someone to appreciate you and have gratitude for the things that you do for them and just to love you. Really, you can't teach empathy. Either they have it and they do right, or they don't, and it's not your job to teach them because you're not their parent. And even if you ever did try to teach them, more than likely it would be unsuccessful because these are adults we're talking about. Let's be real. A mindset change like that would require an entire lifestyle change, and people just aren't willing to do that unless they go through some crazy transformational point in their lives, which is doable, but you can't be the conductor of that in someone else's life. This tip will take you far. Trust me, I have learned from experience. So lesson number 5 for me would be nothing lasts forever, good or bad times. It's kind of self-explanatory. Nothing lasts forever. When you're in a good place and when it's your season of blessings, take it in and enjoy it while you can, because it's not going to last forever realistically. And also when you're in your bad phases in life, when things feel like they're going terribly and that you'll never recover from something, just get through it day by day and understand that it will get better and things will change and things aren't always just going to be that way forever. Everything is temporary, honestly. And the sooner you accept that and the sooner you live by that, the easier it'll be to get through the ups and downs of life. Number 6 for me is most feelings and people are replaceable. This one kind of sounds bad, but let me get into it. Of course, there are some people in your life that you cannot replace, like family, like maybe your childhood friends, maybe people who are like family. But with that being said, people are always replaceable, and that goes for those of you who are losing girlfriends, boyfriends, wives, husbands, friends. I mean, anyone that you've lost and you're in a place where you're feeling down about it and you're grieving that relationship, definitely go through your grief period. I encourage that, but understand that that person is replaceable. There are 7 billion people on this planet and there's so much potential out there for friends. That's what I mostly think about, is friends. I think about how many people out there in the world I haven't met yet that would perfectly click with me. For some people, if you're out of a relationship and you feel like, will I ever find someone like that again? Stop feeling that way. Everyone is replaceable. No matter how amazing you felt at one point, no matter how great your relationship was, you can always have a similar experience as that with someone else, or even better. You'll never know unless you try. So definitely get out there, make new friends, meet new people, go date again, whatever it is. However this applies to you, go do that, because it's possible, and it's not good to stay stuck in one feeling. If you're ever feeling stuck in one feeling, then just go do something else that'll make you feel a different way. Let's say you're stuck in a sad feeling and you know for a fact that watching one episode of The Office will make you feel happier. You just have to convince yourself to go do that. It's just about the action, mind over matter. Just tell yourself, let me go do that so I can laugh and think about something else and be in a different mood. Of course, all of this is easier said than done, of course, but realistically, it's all possible, it's all replaceable. It's just a matter of how bad you want it. Number 7 for me is settling for less than what you deserve will always result in disappointment and heartbreak. This is one of those things that you have to reiterate to yourself constantly throughout your life. I'm saying it right now and I'll probably say it next year, but maybe 2 years later I'll forget and I'll have to go through a life lesson to remind myself of it again. It's just one of those things. You have to stop settling. Don't settle for less than what you deserve. If you're settling, you will always end up feeling disappointed in the outcome of the situation or in yourself. And this is something you have to train yourself to do. You really have to remind yourself, like, can I do better than this? Can I perform better than this? Can I have better? Do I deserve better? Like, you have to ask yourself these questions that need to be answered and can only be answered by you. Settling in 2021? I don't think so. Lesson number 8 for me is that hard work always pays off in the end. This is one of those things that you hear all throughout your life. Your teacher said it to you, your parents said it to you. It's not that you don't believe it, but you don't really see it happening until you see it happening. It's a fact of life that hard work pays off. Grinding pays off, and I want to really put this out there for the young people, people my age, people in their 20s, people who are kind of confused, don't know where to go in life, don't know which direction. Your parents want you to do this, but your heart wants you to do this. To those people, I just want to say, keep working. I know it gets hard. I know you sometimes lose sight of the vision when things get rough and you need to do something more practical. But just keep working. Hard work will always pay off. Don't lose your grind. Stay consistent. Stay disciplined. I want to see all of you succeed. I think what really got me to understand this as a lesson this year is seeing other people through social media accomplishing goals and thinking like, oh yeah, they did start that a few years back. It's good to see that they've reached this milestone or that they finally have this. And whether it's a new warehouse for their store or a new apartment for themselves, it's important to look at someone's success and use that as a drive for yourself instead of feeling any negative way about it, because what you're more than likely doing is comparing your day 1 to their day 100, which doesn't make sense. They've been at it for this many years and you're just starting off, and of course it's natural to see that and be like, damn, I wish I had that. But it's best to not have a bitter attitude about it. Congratulate the people around you for succeeding and focus right back into your own work, because if you want to reach those milestones, all you have to do is keep going. That's literally it. Just keep working. Hard work pays off. Okay, number 9, romance is overrated. I think one major thing that I was able to confront myself about this year was how I look towards romantic relationships for validation, and that's not healthy, and I need to stop doing that. I don't even enjoy the dating process with people half the time, and that's kind of why I say romance is overrated. It's really to reiterate to myself that like I don't need to be in a romantic relationship in order to feel confident and sexy and like my best self and my most attractive self and my most fulfilled self. And it's not that I think that I need a romantic relationship for those things, but a lot of my actions that I've been seeing within myself just seem out of line for what I really want out of my life. And if I'm trying to set my life up for total independence, I need to do that in a way where I'm not relying on someone else for any part of me. And more often than not, that's what I end up doing when I'm in a relationship. So for me, romance is overrated. It's just not necessary. If it comes naturally and gracefully, then I'm more than willing to accept it. But if it's anything that requires far too much contorting of my own personality or my everyday life, then I don't think it's for me. I need to stop accepting everything and being open to every single thing. I've always been one of those people that's been willing to see things all the way through before really just giving up on it. And I'm starting to understand that that's really just not the best way to go about life. Sometimes you have to follow your intuition and your gut and do what makes sense for you in your life at that point. And right now in my life, it just doesn't make sense to be with anybody. So I'm trying to stay focused on that. Lesson number 10 is to invest in your friendships. This is a really important one for me. My friends mean a lot to me. I'm someone who doesn't have much family in my life besides my immediate nuclear family. Every other meaningful relationship in my life is with a friend. It's really important for me to have solid friends that I can rely on, to have fun with, to safely go out with, to go to when I'm not in the best headspace, to be able to speak to about real life issues. And these relationships have not come overnight. Trust me, I have gone through my fair share of phony ass friends, people who are not there for the right reason, people who are only around so they can go to parties with me. Trust me, I've been there, I've seen it all. You really have to invest in your friendships. You have to make time to hang out with your friends individually. You have to make time to call your friends, FaceTime them, have conversations, just check up on them, ask them how they're doing, what's going on, what'd you eat, what are you up to. It doesn't have to be a regular thing, but ever so often you should be checking up on your friends, and that's really how you build a bond. It's really important to make an effort as you would be in a romantic relationship or the way that you do with your parents. You can do things like make them feel special on their birthday or keep up with their big life events and congratulate them and encourage them when needed. These things may seem small, but they add up over the years, and that's really what determines who's been a solid friend, a consistent consistent friend versus those who haven't. So I'd say it's always worth it to go the extra step for your friends. The next lesson for me is to be forgiving. This is something that I learned a long time ago, and it's been working well for me throughout my life, I have to say. I literally forgive everyone for everything because I'm a Muslim. It's actually a teaching of Islam that we're supposed to forgive everyone for their wrongdoings before we go to bed each night so that we can go to bed with a clean, pure heart. And that's literally such an amazing and effective practice. I cannot tell you guys. You don't have to be Muslim to follow it, of course, but it makes so much sense to just let go of whatever it is you're holding on to. Forgive people and make your best effort to move on. Try to bring your inner peace back to center as soon as possible instead of holding on to anger or disappointment or whatever it is you're feeling. Forgive people and move on. That's it. Okay, lesson number 12. Almost everything that everyone does is a projection. Nothing is personal. This one's really important to understand when you're going through life and people are hitting you with bullshit left and right, and you just have to recognize that none of this is really personal. If somebody's randomly disrespecting you or randomly talking to you in a rude way, you have to understand that either they are having a bad day or they're dealing with something somewhere else that really has nothing to do with you. The best way out of that situation is to be kind, be respectful, and exit the conversation because you don't know what they have going on right now. This even goes for the way that people speak and joke around and interact with other people. Even for myself, a lot of the times, a lot of the moods that I'm giving to people, it's all just a projection. We're humans, we can't help doing it. It's just the way of life. Recognize it within yourself, try to find a way to control it, and don't get offended when other people do it to you. Lesson 13 is that a clean environment and body results in a relaxed headspace. For me personally, I really want to emphasize on the clean environment part because that's something that I want to get on top of this next year, is to consistently have a clean room. I'm one of those people that will deep clean my room, and within 2 weeks it'll be back to messy. Every surface will be filled with clutter. I'll have to vacuum, laundry will be everywhere, and it's really just the small things that I overlook, like leaving clothes on the ground that I can simply put up, or leaving something where it doesn't belong and now it's starting to look cluttered. Things like that I'm trying to get on top of so that I can always have a clean environment and therefore have a clean headspace, because it's so true. Your environment, especially your bedroom, really does affect the way that your mind thinks. So this is your sign to go clean your room. And wash your sheets too. Number 14 is to make more time for things that you enjoy. For me, that's creating YouTube videos. For me, that's designing clothes on my iPad. For me, that's doing puzzles, creating new outfits with my clothes, spending time with my sisters. I mean, there are just so many things that I enjoy, and if I just every day actually took the time to schedule in a moment to do one thing that I enjoy, it really changes the tone of the rest of your day and possibly week, and over time it'll just make you a happier, healthier person. So definitely make time to just stop and enjoy life. Lesson number 15 for me is that friends and men come and go. Don't lose yourself in the waves. Why did I write it like that? I was clearly in my feelings when I made this list. Obviously, men can be interchanged for women, men and women, whatever you're into. These people come and go. This kind of goes back to the one that I was talking about when I said everyone is replaceable. Everyone in your life is only there for a season. You have to just let the seasons happen. Don't get too stuck on any one person. Don't pour too much of yourself into any one person. Don't give too much power to any one person, whether that's a friend or a relative or a lover. That's all this one really means, to just go with the flow. When things are sad, allow yourself to be sad and move on. When things are happy, allow yourself to be happy and move on. Lesson 16 is that hurting is necessary for growth. And hurting can mean anything. Hurting can mean feeling disappointed in yourself because you're failing classes in school, or because you're not getting the job that you want, or for dating the wrong person. That's really how we learn lessons. We have to go through the bad to be able to know and recognize and appreciate the good. So the next time you're in a hard place where you're hurting and you're feeling depressed and down, understand that that's just for a season. You're gonna come out of it a brand new version of yourself, a smarter, more wiser version of yourself. You're gonna have learned at least one new lesson, if not a few. So always look forward to that side of things instead of just feeling stuck on the negativity. Lesson 17 is to take pride in what sets you apart. There are so many things that set me apart that I didn't even recognize until recently, like my looks, the way that I dress, the way that I interact with people, my background, my ethnicity, my nationality. I mean, there are just so many things. I kind of always looked at them as just things that are a part of me, like nothing special really, but every little thing that everyone else doesn't have is special. It's just a matter of really figuring out what sets you apart and kind of broadcasting those things more, and making sure that people around you know those things about you, making sure that those things are identifiable. In a way, it's sort of like branding yourself, and it's really enjoyable for me because I feel like people around me and you guys get to know me more. So I recommend looking into that. Lesson number 18 for me is that being compassionate and empathetic is not an option. Personally, these qualities are things that I want ingrained in me. I want these traits to be at the forefront of my personal characteristics. Compassion and empathy are two of the most important things that we can share with one another as humans sharing a planet. Like, that's what we need to have first in order to move ground in anything, in any industry, in any relationship. You need to have compassion and empathy. They come fairly easy to me, and I know for a lot of people they don't come as easily. I just happen to be an empathetic person naturally, and not everyone's like that, and that's totally okay. But these qualities to me are those that I try to deliver upon every human that I ever encounter. Lesson number 19 is to pursue your passions if you can. I think I spoke about something similar to this earlier, about how if you're able to work hard and reach your goals, then do it. I know not everyone has the chance to do that. Some people have to take on a more practical career path in order to provide for their families, and they just have different situations going on. They have to immediately provide financially for themselves. People have different stories and different lives, but if you're in a position where you can grind and you can work hard and you can push to pursue your dreams, then I highly recommend you do so. I'm definitely at a place where I understand that I'm willing to do what it takes to reach my goals. I don't want to settle for a different life. I have options and I don't want to settle. I really don't. I'm willing to go through the routines. I'm willing to do the work. I'm willing to go through the learning curve. I'm willing to go through the failures before the successes, because at the end of the day, there's a lifestyle that I want. There's a certain life that I want. There are certain things that I want, and only I can give those things to myself. I'm the one that's in charge of my life. It's your life. You call the shots. If you want to pursue your dreams, then 100% do it. You have my support. Start that thing that you've been thinking about starting. Finish that project that you've been wanting to finish. This is your sign if you've been looking for one. And last but not least, my 20th lesson that I learned in 2020 is that bad karma is real. Be honest, genuine, and authentic always. Lying and fabricating and cheating your way through life is not it, you guys. There is no longevity in that. You may think you're winning through one season of life by scamming your way through, or lying, or cheating, or manipulating your way through, but the following season will drop you right back down. That's just how life works. Nobody gets away with it. This isn't a movie. This isn't a fairy tale. And you really do reap what you sow in this lifetime. So be kind, be genuine, be honest, be your most authentic self. It's not lame to be a good person. It's not lame to be a wholesome, honest person. Those are the kind of people that I like to have around me, and those are the kind of people that I feel like I can really build a strong foundation with. So I encourage everyone, if you feel like you're not being your most authentic self, definitely dig into yourself. Ask the tough questions that need to be asked. If you are, then fabulous. If you're not, then fix it. It's never too late. It's never too late to improve on yourself. And that is all, you guys. Those are my 20 lessons that I learned in 2020. I hope you guys were able to take away anything from this video. I hope you guys found my lessons insightful. I definitely had one roller coaster of a year, and I'm sure a lot of you have as well. Leave a comment down below and tell me one really impactful thing that happened to you this year. I want to know some of the things that you guys have gone through this year. I'm really panicking about how long this video is about to be, you guys. I feel like I've been talking for hours. I'm gonna stop now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you've been watching all the way through up until this point, shout out to you, honestly. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I really hope you guys all have a happy and fabulous and safe new year. If you're going out, please don't. If you're staying in, do something cute and fun. Thank you as always for supporting me and liking and commenting and subscribing. It means the world to me. And I will catch you guys in the new year. Bye.